My cat just knocked my whole tripod, camera, everything off the counter. I am praying this video works. It's on, it's filming, the camera looks fine, but I'm like scared because he's broken the camera before. But hey y'all, I am back and I have more paranormal stories that I'm really nervous to read. I picked out 4. The first 2 are like imaginary friend, but like paranormal stories, and the second 2 are about Ouija boards. We're gonna hop right in. He's look at him sucking up to me now that he knocked my camera over. He's like, I know what I did was wrong. The first story says, ghosts followed me from our childhood apartment. Hi Courtney, my name is Aurora and I've experienced hauntings ever since I was 9 to 10. I am now 24. I'm just gonna jump into it. My mom, stepdad, my sister and me lived in a 2-story apartment. 2 apartments on top of each other, and we lived on the 2nd floor. I remember having what I thought was an imaginary friend. I would always talk to her before bed, but she would never say anything. She would just sit or stand near me and watch what I was doing. She would sometimes turn off my lamp at night when I left it on. I'm afraid of the dark. Or touch my head, but that was the only physical thing she did. I know she wasn't an imaginary friend now because my sister and I both remember her and both saw things happening. She would move this witch sculpture my sister had in her room multiple times in a day, and often while we were watching it happen. Our downstairs neighbor also had experiences with her and an older male ghost. They would hear a man shouting from their bathroom. Single mom and daughter with 2 dogs were the only ones there, and caught them on video multiple times. The last experience I had there was when I was coming back from walking a dog a family friend had brought with them when they came over. And I distinctly heard a girl say, "Hey," from the stairs leading to the living room, but there was no one there with the same voice as the girl. None of them had stood at the stairs when we came in. It freaked me out when I realized what I had just heard. When we moved a couple of years later to a new house, my mom would hear steps from the attic when no one was up there and woke up to a shadow standing by her bed. One of the 2 freaky experiences I had there was when I woke up to my bed being shaken. Just my bed, nothing else. And the last thing I experienced before I moved out was when I was home alone. I was in the kitchen baking and had the radio on. From where I was standing, you could see into the living room and a little of the stairs leading to the basement. I remember seeing something moving behind me in the corner of my eye and thought it was my mom coming back early and trying to scare me. So I said, "Hi Mom," and turned around. My heart dropped and I froze when I saw an elderly woman standing there instead. She didn't acknowledge me or what I was doing, but walked or glided over to the oven right next to me. I remember being so scared and shocked, not knowing what to do. I just stared at her, waiting to see what else would happen. She stood there for maybe a minute or 2 before I gasped in shock, and then she looked up to the wall and went through the oven and the wall and then disappeared. I was so scared after that, I immediately called my parents and my sister and told them everything. I can still see the lady in my head and remember everything that happened so vividly. Sorry for the long story, but I wanted to share it. No, because what the fuck? If I saw a random old lady disappear into my oven, burn it down. This next story says, the time I was almost possessed as a child, trigger warning mentions of violence. Bit of background information. I wasn't exposed to a lot as a kid. I got like 30 minutes of Dora the Explorer daily and my mother was always present. We had also just moved houses into an old family home that we rebuilt. I no longer lived there due to family issues. And as a child, and to this day, I was able to see ghosts. Also, I do not remember this. It was told to me about a year ago by my mother, and the look on her face as she said it, it's something I'll never forget. We had been sitting at the dining room table. I was eating in a rush to get back to playing with an imaginary friend that I had recently met when we moved into the house, when suddenly I turned to my mother. Apparently, I looked her dead in the eyes seeming to appear black, and spoke. My voice didn't sound like myself. It was deep and husky and unlike what a 3, almost 4-year-old would sound like. "I want to slit your throat and watch all the blood drain out of you." Those are the exact words that left my mouth, and my mother paled. "What did you say?" I blinked and my eyes returned to normal. "Huh? What did you say?" "I want to slit your throat and watch all the blood drain out of you." My younger self didn't know what I had been saying was wrong, so it came out like a question. "Why would you say that?" my mother questioned. My child self smiled. "Because China told me to," I had exclaimed. My mother's heart dropped into her stomach. "Who?" "My friend, the one I made when we moved here." My mother started freaking out. She had apparently noticed small changes in my behavior over the past few weeks, but I'd chalked it up to me adjusting to a new environment. She wound up leaving the room to call a friend of hers, a friend with a similar ability to mine, we'll call him C, for advice. What he told her stuck with her for the rest of her life. There is something trying to attach itself to them. You need to get rid of the entity immediately, C told her. My mom wound up calling someone to bless, cleanse, and banish the entity from the home. It was made clear to China that she was no longer welcome around me, my family, or the home. Protective wards were put up around the house and I returned to normal, with no recollection of China or any of the events that occurred. Recently, as I have moved out and was staying at a friend's house a lot, I wound up seeing her again. I didn't know who she was before my mother had told me the story, but she still had introduced herself to me as China. She has long black hair, a pale complexion, and a scar running across her face. Typically, she's wearing a white sundress, and I'm aware of how cliche that sounds, but it's the truth. As of now, I am actively trying to keep her away from me, my loved ones, and anyone she may be able to harm because she is relentless. I don't know why she stuck around all these years or why she chose me as a child, but she clearly got me. Thank God for C, otherwise I don't know what would have happened. It freaks me out so badly that children can see things that we can't. I saw a TikTok the other day where a child, it was in my last TikTok video, where a child was like, no, there's a man right there in my closet, and the mom was like, where? And she's like, right there. We can't see it, but it's there. And that's what was happening. You said you could still see ghosts, I believe, but it just freaks me out that children can do that shit. I don't know why, it's just a little scary. Now we're gonna move on to the Ouija board stories. This one says, a Ouija board tale of caution. An extremely long time ago, I was friends with this one girl who was into the paranormal. One night, during a sleepover, we decided to make a homemade Ouija board. I used ritual white magic to bless it. We put our fingertips on the planchette, making the infinity sign 3 times while entreating to receive only spirits of goodness and light. I know that none of the blessings worked. When the planchette moved, it was rough, forceful, and felt like our fingers were glued to it. All the while, it felt like sharp jolts of electricity going up our arms. I equate it to grabbing an electric fence. Yes, I accidentally grabbed an electric fence as a child. As the planchette jerked around the board, we asked it a question. Are you a good spirit? Immediately, it swung to no. The second question was, since you aren't good, are you from the earthly spirit? It immediately swung to no 3 times in quick succession. Well, that creeped us both out, and we knew better than to let go of the planchette. We couldn't have, even if we wanted to anyways. Right then, it swung wildly around the board. It then spelled, you are going to die. It did this 3 times. I asked it, are you referring to my friend or me? It replied, you. I then heard this deep growl and a deep voice say to me, tonight I'm coming for you in your sleep. We quickly dismissed it by sweeping over goodbye, telling it to leave. Holy fuck. That night I had horrendous dreams. After that, I had this blonde little girl attached to me for many years. She told me that she murdered both of her parents in a fit of pure rage. Also that she was the demon that came through that night on the Ouija board. Every time she came to me, I would feel like I was being choked. I have finally been rid of her for many years now. She went away when I got pregnant with my first child. That kind of freaks me out. I just hope that me talking about her doesn't bring her back since I now live in a house with a vortex. I will let you know if she does. What the fuck? No, she can't come back. She literally can't because you're having a baby and that's not fair. Do you guys ever do that? I always think this can't happen to me because it's just not fair for it to happen to me. And it could be the most minor thing. I honestly, I can't even give you an example right now other than what I just read. It's well, that's just not fair because I have a baby. I have other things to deal with. You can't do that. It's not fair. This final story says, my grandpa's mom and brother's life became consumed by a Ouija board. Hi Courtney, been watching your channel since about 2018. That's crazy. I love your Reddit videos, so here's a post about the time my grandpa's mom and brother became obsessed with the Ouija board, ultimately causing it to ruin their life for about 5 months. I also apologize in advance if there's not much detail. All of this is based off the few things my grandpa told me about his experience. The people in this story are my grandpa Tim, his brother Randy, and their mom Ashley. This all happened about 30 years ago when Ashley and Randy began playing with the Ouija board and immediately got hooked. My grandpa says he never knew what got them to play the Ouija board or where they even got it from, but one day it just happened and things weren't the same for the next few months. Ashley and Randy then played every day and were completely obsessed. My grandpa says he would see them playing it at all hours of the day, even catching them playing in the middle of the night when he would get ready for work. After only a day of playing it, they said they came in contact with a spirit named Harry. Harry claimed to be their guardian angel and had made many promises to them regarding wealth and granting their religious beliefs after they pass away. He then said he would give them the money only if they made a deal with him. The deal was that if he gave them the prosperity they wished for, then they would have to give him their soul in return. Creepy as fuck, I know. Harry also told them a story of a missing girl who he had supposedly known before he died and became a spirit. He said he knew what happened to her and where her body was located, and all they needed to do to find her was to follow the clues he was providing for them every time they played. Over time, Ashley and Randy went on many random goose chases. Their scavenger hunts consisted of visiting various forests and bridges. Because they were always running around at all hours of the night, Ashley and Randy were looked at as crazy by everyone in their small town in Tennessee. Even their family thought they were totally out of it, including my grandpa. My grandpa also said it was as if something took over them and they were acting like completely different people. He said over the course of the next 5 or so months that talking to them was like talking to something that was hollow, as if they had no soul and their eyes would just stare blankly as they looked at him. He even said they would forget regular things that they should know, such as my grandpa's name, certain things his siblings were allergic to, and other various things that a normal person just wouldn't forget in the snap of a finger. My grandpa also comes from a family of 9 siblings, therefore his mom worked very hard at remembering key things about each of them. So as you can imagine, it was very strange to see her act this way. But not only were his mom and brother acting like complete strangers, they would act odd when it came to people talking down upon Harry, often warning that they should watch their backs or that they were making Harry very angry and it wasn't good to get on his bad side. He said they'd also become very defensive and upset when someone would insult Harry or the Ouija board's existence. My grandpa also said that he doesn't remember the full details of it, but the last time his mom and brother played the Ouija board, something so traumatizing happened to them that they both finally snapped out of it and vowed to never play it again. He says all he remembers was coming home from work midday, all of the chairs were sitting on top of their kitchen table, and that both Ashley and Randy were trembling. Because of what they experienced that night, they refused to talk about anything that involves the paranormal from that point on. Only a few months later, he said he saw his mom grab the Ouija board and smack it against the edge of their granite counter, one by one, breaking it into pieces. Ever since then, they acted as their usual selves, but refused to talk about what happened that day. Hope you enjoyed this story. I was utterly freaked out when he told me this. I'd also like to note my grandpa is almost 70 and has no reason to lie. He also doesn't believe in ghosts, so even I was shocked to hear this story from him. I also asked him if it was possible that they were possessed, and he says he doesn't believe in that, but that it was possible because of how insane they were acting. You know when someone doesn't believe in this stuff, but they're willing to admit that maybe that happened, you know shit was real. That is all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any stories you want to share with me or the community, I will have my subreddit link down below. I like how Weems is just like casually sleeping, being a good boy after he just viciously knocked my tripod off the counter. I swear I turned my back for 1 second to like fix the pillows on the couch, and I hear a crash and I was like, no. And my camera was on the ground. He broke my camera, my last camera, by knocking it over too. Obviously, he's not doing it on purpose. I know that. He's a cat. But yeah, he broke my last camera, and it's not a cheap camera, so I was a little upset. But he didn't, I don't think he broke this one. I hope the mic is okay. That's what I'm worried about, because it's recording, and everything seems fine. Like, it's not cracked, nothing. I just hope the mic is okay, because that's like the only thing I'm not going to be able to test until I like export the video. Or import, whatever the fuck. I don't know. But I'm gonna go. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I was in Vegas over the weekend. I think I told you guys I was going on vacation, maybe, I don't remember. I went to Vegas. We went Friday to Sunday. It was really fun. I went with a couple of my friends. Nothing super crazy happened. Honestly, I didn't even really drink that much. Friday night, I didn't even really get drunk. I was honestly just kind of tired because my flight was really early. I had been up since 3 a.m. I was up for almost 24 hours because my flight was early, but I think I just said this, am I repeating myself? I couldn't sleep, so I woke up at 3 a.m. I think I just said that, like within the same breath, but I can't remember. Anyway, so I hadn't slept for a while, and then we got to Vegas super early in the morning. We were going to take a nap, but I couldn't fall asleep, so whatever. I was really tired. I couldn't really get drunk. We had a table at a club with a bunch of other girls, and yeah, I was just kind of like, I want to go home. Not home, but back to the hotel. So we ended up leaving at maybe 1. I think we got back to the hotel around 2. We got Taco Bell. Dude, the new Taco Bell, like grilled cheese, pulled beef, whatever the fuck it is so good. Oh my god, that was the best thing I've ever had. But then the next night too, we drank like for most of the day. The one thing that did suck is we got a table at this like day club. It was like a beach club. We got there, the table's like not what we expected. It was so small, not worth the money we paid. And it was so fucking hot, which I know that. Like I live in Arizona, I should have known that. But we were not expecting it to be so hot. There was like no umbrella, nothing. We were just like in the sun. So we honestly just ended up getting a refund for that. We were like, fuck this, we're not staying here. And then we ended up taking a nap instead. But then we went out that night, but we went out and I was waiting in line, I think, because we had waited in line to get in. Honestly, I was like fairly drunk this night. I don't remember what line we were waiting in after that, I don't know why we were waiting in multiple lines. I was like nodding off in the line. I was so tired. It was already probably midnight at this point, maybe not even, but I don't know. So me and one of my friends did end up leaving, and then we just went and got food and then passed out. And then Sunday, dude, we were there like all day. My flight was that night, which I don't know why we did that. I think we thought like maybe we could just have like an extra day to like drink and whatever, but we didn't feel like drinking because we just drank for 2 days. So we just kind of gambled and did random shit, but we were like, I want to go home. Overall, it was a fun trip. I feel like my vacations always go by so fast. Like I remember last week just like waiting all week for Friday to go, and I'm like already back home. I hate that. It's like I was so excited and now I'm just like already back. What? But I do have a friend coming in town this weekend, so I'm really excited, but I will only have one video this week because yesterday was my like recover day, Monday. Sorry. I should have filmed. There's a gnat on my camera. Whatever. I should have filmed yesterday. I didn't. I laid in bed all day and watched SVU because I'm addicted to SVU again. And today I'm filming. Tomorrow I'm going to edit. I have to clean. I have to do all this stuff. And she comes in like Thursday morning. So sorry. That's all I have to say. I'm going to go because it's so fucking hot because I have to turn off my air. Love you. Ew. Love you so much. See you.